Do you feng shui? Like you said, you're a design. Like, is it one of those things where it's... Welcome into Carpooling with Ben, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I found my guest today on a TikTok video. It was kind of a trend where there's a baby penguin. He's got an iceberg. My guest today is Sam Testa from NASA, like legit NASA, the real NASA. Sam, how are you?
Hey, I'm great. Thank you so much for having me, Ben.
Your video was great, and there's a lot of technical stuff, but for all intent and purposes, you're a rocket scientist, essentially, but you have a much more detailed, a much more authoritative title than that. What do you do at NASA?
I'm a lead design engineer, so not necessarily a rocket scientist. I'm more on the engineering side, but I am the subject matter expert on several different projects for the Artemis program and a couple other programs at the agency.
That is incredible. You graduated from Villanova.
I did.
What was that experience like? Talk to me about the school.
Villanova was fantastic. I mean, it was the greatest 4 years of my life. I would love to go back. It's a fantastic school. It's in a great area. You know, they set me up perfectly for my career with, you know, all the things they taught us, the mentors that they had available for us, some of the extracurricular activities. I mean, everything was great. I would go back in a heartbeat.
You're originally from New Jersey. You made your way down. You made your way down to Florida. So, you know, you've been at NASA for how long now?
6 years now.
So talk to me about, okay, so how does this happen? How do you just like go on to like LinkedIn and say open careers at NASA? Hey, I'll apply for this one. Or how did that happen?
Yeah, I actually applied online. NASA has
some
really amazing internship programs. Yeah. And I threw my name in the hat online when I was still, you know, in school at Villanova, and got the call, you know, interviewed with a telephone interview and, you know, a couple of these types of video chat interviews, and got the opportunity to go down my sophomore summer. And I was actually working in software at the time, which is not my calling. I am much more of a mechanical engineer by, you know, heart and by trade. But that's what I did my first internship, and I've been with the agency ever since.
Tell the truth. On the first day of work, as you pulled into NASA, driving in, were you listening to Elton John's Rocket Man and replacing it with Rocket Woman?
Rocket Woman? I was actually listening to the Marvel Shield TV show theme song. It's such a cool theme song for the show, and you pull up and the VAB is in front of you, that big iconic building, and you just want to put on your aviators and kind of stand in front of it with your arms crossed, like, yeah, I work here now. Like, I'm here.
It's kind of a known thing, probably, of the people who work like the perimeter security or the check-in points are like, oh, there's a first timer. It's his first day. Yeah. First day coming in. Here we go. Here's a rookie. You know, they're taking the photos. It's
so green.
But do you still get that feeling every day you come to work? I get that sense that it's such an adventure for you still.
Yeah. Oh, it absolutely is. Especially now, because we've been working from home for so long. When I get to go in and I get to see the hardware and I get to see the VAB and my coworkers, you get a lot of that kind of reminiscent, wow, I'm really working at NASA. This stuff's going to the moon. This stuff is going to space, kind of a feeling. Yeah, I would definitely say it's just as exciting now as it was then.
So can you break down kind of what you do? Let me rephrase that. Break it down to a level that your average idiot, could understand what you do. and how did Villanova kind of prepare you, and how is the mentoring and everything that you've been doing while you've been working at NASA for the past 6 years? How has that kind of all like come together into play? And again, what do you do? Do you feng shui? Like you said, you're a design. Like, is it one of those things where it's like you're looking at various architecture from the past and, okay, how can we use that? Or how does that work?
It's a little bit, I would say it's a little bit of feng shui for sure. My job as a technical expert is to kind of keep an eye on the design of the project from start to finish. So we work with commercial contractors, we work with engineers and designers within the agency, And we make sure that all of the requirements, which basically, define the project, what you want at the end of the project, what you want it to do, how you want it to operate. We keep an eye and make sure that all of the things that are being designed are keeping the requirements in mind, that it's going to be usable by whoever the end product user is. So the technicians or even the astronauts at some, for some projects, making sure that they can do what they need to do and that it makes sense for them. It's going to be easy for them to use, or, even if it's complicated, they're going to be able to be trained on it. And we kind of follow the whole project through, concept, through the design work, through the construction, and then the testing phase, and then, through training for whoever the end user is.
How many space movies or aeronautical themed, the right word, I think, aeronautical, right? Yeah. How many of those movies did you watch as a child, and how close is Apollo 13 with Tom Hanks to what you do now?
I have a friend of mine, actually. His name is Tom Sanzone. He was a mentor from Villanova who worked at the agency for over 30 years. He was in the room for the Apollo 13 where they were trying to help solve the problem. And he said that movie is incredibly accurate, except for the portion where they come in with the box of hardware and kind of dump it on the table. He said everything else is almost spot on.
That doesn't seem very NASA-like, to come in and just dump stuff on the table. I feel like you guys and girls and all the fine folks over there are just so much more careful with things.
With a lot of stuff, we have to be.
I would imagine. Sam, I'm going to be honest with you. You never have to worry about me working there because, I'm just a giant idiot and a klutz. So, you're safe there in that sense.
Get it organized. Okay, let's build a filter.
You've talked before on different programs. I've seen different interviews that you've been featured on various, shows and through NASA TV and all these other things. And you really have a passion for science, technology, engineering, and math, STEM, as it were. And more so, I mean, you are a woman in STEM, just absolutely crushing what you do on a regular basis. And not for nothing, you're barely old enough to rent a vehicle right now. Like, that is like so impressive. Well, maybe up here in the Northeast, you're down in Florida, maybe they have younger standards down there, but up here it's like 25 or something.
Yeah, no, it's 25.
All right. But this is such an amazing thing. What does it mean to you when you have, now that I'm a, full-time dad, we got a little girl, to have little girls and, young teenage girls looking up to you and say, holy crap, this is something that I could do?
Yeah, I didn't always realize how much, the kids around me were looking up to me. I have a little cousin named Gianna, and she, very recently kind of made it clear how much she's inspired by NASA and, the fact that I get to work there and, she knows me and gets to see what I do. And a couple of my other family members, younger female cousins have kind of expressed similar things. And it makes you think, it makes you proud of what you're doing, to be able to be a role model to those kids. And it makes you want to keep doing that amazing work and be better every day, be better and do more and kind of show them the things that, I wish I had been shown or I was shown when I was a kid, so that they can grow up and, be even better than I am.
What advice do you give to anybody, any child or early teen or whatever that is considering exploring the opportunities to either work in the kind of fields you're working in? Because obviously, thanks to a guy named Bezos and Branson and a bunch of other people, like, it's really getting hot. It's really like,
yeah.
and the spacesuits are so much cooler looking now. I mean, they just like really hip from a fashion design. What advice or what do you tell them? Because I mean, you could tell them so many things, but what is kind of like what's at your heart? What's kind of your message?
The biggest thing from me, was instilled in me by my parents is, to go do what you love and just be good at it. Don't necessarily chase the money. Don't necessarily chase what somebody else wants you to do. If you know what you want to do and you're passionate about it, go for it. I mean, my sisters are in the photography industry and in the culinary world, and they are doing an amazing job. We have a really diverse family in terms of, what all three of us do. And my parents just told us growing up, find what you love and go for it. And thankfully, we're all, really successful at what we do. We love what we get to do every day, and it makes it easier. There's a saying that if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And it's not all true. Every job's going to have its good days and its bad days, but there's going to be a lot more good days. And you're going to find that school's easier. You're going to find that getting up in the morning's easier. And, it helped shape who I am, and it got me to where I am now. So find what you love and go for it.
So you mentioned your sisters. One does photography, one does cooking.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
There is another person that is on this filming, Laura, and I want to give a shout out. Thank you, Laura, so much for helping all this come together. And I'm glad she's here because she can validate this perhaps. Wouldn't it be something if we had a cook, a photographer, and an engineer? Kind of sounds like you got everything you need for a trip to, out of space. Just
That's
saying.
Right.
I mean, every time I've watched a video on NASA or on the YouTube channel or something, you always see there's one of the people up there at the International Space Station taking photos out the window or doing something. So we need a photog. You got to eat, which, she just has to be very good at like long-term planning, because if you leave in August and you're going to be up there, make sure you bring the food for Thanksgiving because the turkey's important, or whatever you choose. So like that's that. So no, but this is more my question for you. There's got to be a list somewhere in NASA of people. Like, it could be everybody. It's the government. Who knows? My name could be on it. It'd probably be at the very bottom of people to go into space. Do you ever kind of walk around like on the floor where the astronauts kind of hang out, like when they're not doing spacey things, and like walk by the manager's office, the astronaut manager, be like, oh, like pretend on the phone, like, oh yeah, I could really go up to space one day, maybe. And they come out and like, oh, well, if you're interested, we might have an opening. Like, there's got to be a list, and you've got to be on that list somewhere. Like, you've got to be higher than me, higher than a lot of people. Where are you on that list? Could it happen?
I'm not on the list yet. I'm not on the list. I want to be on the list. I want to be on the list. I've applied to be on the list.
Is that like a 10-year? Is that a 10-year tier or something? What's going on?
I'm working on it. I'm doing everything I can, but there is a list. The astronaut office has a long list of astronauts right now who are, extreme experts. They're trained, they're ready to go. So we have a list of the guys who are going up. I don't know everybody on that list.
There's a lot of people working at NASA.
There's a lot of astronauts. They're pretty quiet about it, but I know for sure I have some friends on that list, and hopefully one day I'll make the list myself. So
you ever watch that movie Monsters, Inc.?
Yeah, I love that movie.
You ever see like when all the monsters come out onto the floor and they're like, here comes the monsters.
We got scaries coming out.
And everybody kind of stands. Is that what happens there? They play like, a song as the astronauts are walking down the hall, like.
I don't know if they play music, but if you've seen the videos when they come out of the doors of the
I'm just talking every day. I'm just talking. I'm just talking every day. Like, yeah. Do you let them cut you in line in the cafeteria? Like, oh, go ahead, you're an astronaut. And, you
for the most part, you can tell they're astronauts. They've got their blue suits on for sure, but. No, they're, a lot of the times they're very easy to approach. They're people like you and me. They're extraordinarily humble, which is fantastic. And, even though there's not music, when they're walking around in those blue suits, you kind of hear it in the back of your head, like it's playing anyway. Absolutely.
If I was an astronaut, I would have that music like in my back pocket, like on my phone, just playing. Like, I'd probably choose something from like, I don't know, maybe Jurassic Park or something. It's a good one. Yeah, exactly. You've got to set you've got to dress for the job you want, not the job you have.
That's right.
And Sam, maybe with these new spacesuits, you could go get like one of those Tyvek painting suits. I can let you borrow my firefighting boots. And
there you go.
They're like, oh, she looks like it now. This has been fun, Sam. And thank you, Laura, for enduring all this. Sam, before I let you go, what is something that you are looking so much forward to over the next 12 months, couple years down the road as you continue your career and as you expand with what you're doing? What's something like that you could talk to us and share that you're really excited about?
We're working super hard right now on the Artemis program. We've got a launch coming up at the end of this year. For the first time, we'll be launching our SLS rocket, and it's going to be one of the biggest launches in the world, you know, one of the biggest rockets to have ever launched. And I cannot wait to see that rocket go. I mean, car alarms are going to go off, windows are going to be shaking.
Yes.
It's going to be like nothing we've ever seen before, you know, since the Apollo era. I cannot wait for that launch. You know, and then after that, when we launch people and we go to the moon, man, that's going to be like the highlight of my career for sure.
That is so great. If people want to learn more about you or follow you on the socials, you're on there. You're on the TikTok, as it were.
I'm on the TikTok. I have an Instagram page. I have a LinkedIn. Yeah, go ahead and give me a follow.
Ladies and gentlemen, absolutely the coolest person and most impressive person that's ever appeared on this program in this 270 some odd episodes. Folks, learn more about Sam, learn more about NASA, go online, look at the resources, because this is something, especially if you have kids, watch this episode, because, you know, Sam is living proof right there that, you know, you can follow these dreams and you can absolutely make it happen. Sam, thank you so much for your time, and wish you all the best in health and happiness.
Thank you so much, Ben. I can't tell you how much fun this has been. Congratulations to you and your family on your new little girl. And thanks so much for having me.
Thanks.